this thing. All you bitches best to know my name. Nobody you hoes, I'm coming from South Park. Catch you after dark, I'ma spit your fucking chest apart. Follow you. thing. All you bitches best to know my name. Nobody you hoes, I'm coming from South Park. Catch you after dark, I'ma spit your fucking chest apart. Follow you. Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. No threat to a Hotep, especially when the Hotep got the goddess mask off. He's working his ass off, trying to tell y'all goofy dudes what they planning. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand. It's Hotep, Hotep. Hope you motherfuckers understand.
What's going on, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Hotep Thursday. And nothing's working. Oh, here we go. Let's do that one more time. I said happy Hotep Thursday, y'all. I hope everybody had a wonderful day. I hope everybody's had a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. It's almost the weekend. I don't know if y'all got any plans for the weekend, but you know, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. So tonight we got a pretty good one for you tonight. We're gonna review this Vivek Ramaswamy video where he, I mean, honestly, I think Don Lemon made himself like a complete fool in this video. I don't know much about Vivek Ramaswamy, but I know that when I watched that video of the interaction between him and Don Lemon sounded like a complete and total tool. That's all I'm gonna say. He sounded like a complete and total tool. So we're gonna get into that, and also we're gonna take it over to a Rumble exclusive today, to talk about Waco. We going into Waco, guys. We got Jonah Ryan back in the building. He gonna walk us through some shit. I'm gonna bring him in a few minutes. Also, we got Jay Pylon, but you know Jay doing the daddy thing. Jay doing the daddy thing right now, but he'll be in. Steve Zimmer says Don Lemon doesn't have to work too hard to sound like a complete tool. Phil the Kill says Lemon sounded like a fool. In other words, he sounded like he normally do. Exactly. So we're gonna get into that. Oh man, but I hope everybody had a wonderful day today, man. It was a nice day here in Baltimore. It was like 80 degrees. Had a nice little breeze going. I wasn't mad at the weather today. However, it's supposed to rain on Saturday. It kind of sucks. It rained like crazy the other day. I cut my grass on Sunday night. By Wednesday, it looked like I didn't cut my grass at all. That's how crazy it was. I thought Don Lemon got tossed. Me too, yo. I thought Don Lemon got tossed, but I guess he on some kind of morning show or some craziness like that. That's what I keep hearing. I don't know. He's on some kind of morning show or something like that. That's what it looked like to me, at least. But he was sitting there looking like a fucking queen, getting all pissed off at nothing. But we're gonna get into it. Matter of fact. Hey, Jonah, if you can, do me a favor. Bring up your camera for right now.
Is it there?
No, you turn the camera off, but like stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
There we go, perfect. And you can turn the camera back on too.
It's on my end. What the fuck is going on here? Huh?
Yeah, I can't see you.
Yeah. You can't see me?
Nah.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you, Jay. I got you. Bring y'all in real quick. Boom, we just waiting for Jonah Cameron to kick in. There we go. Let's see. Can I do it? No, I can't do it.
Like, I see me on my end.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't see you. Try to jump out the call and jump back in.
Yeah, I gotta jump out and come back right.
All right. Anyway, if you're new, hit that like, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification icon. It'll let you know when I got new content coming out. Please share this stream, guys. Let people know we live. If you're catching the replay, leave a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Everybody be in here lurking, right? It be lurking. I be seeing like 400 and 500 views on like Rumble, but like two comments. We got 13 over on Rumble right now. Sure, more come trickling in soon. Let me see. There we go. And then we got 56 over here on YouTube. Y'all hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification icon. Guys, help me with this algorithm. If you want to donate to the channel, $ Cannon Hotep on Cash App. Rumble Rants, Super Chats, always welcome. Rumble Rants and Super Chats are always welcome. So, let's see. I'm not sure what's the deal, Joan. It's still not popping up.
No, you're not getting anything, eh?
No, not at all. That's weird.
I got it on my end. What the fuck?
Hold
Let me do
on.
my settings. I'll mute myself.
All right. Make sure it ain't me too. So, let's go here. Let's see. Boom. By the way, this wonderful instrumental that you're hearing is brought to you by my man King Coins on Twitter, yo, and Instagram. He hooked me up big time. He hit me up, was like, hey yo, I want to contribute. Let me send you some dope instrumentals. I was like, hell yeah, I'm down all day. So shout out to you, sir. Send me some more if you got some more, man. I'd like to see you and Cassius Cam collab too. See if y'all can't put a dope song together. That should be dope. Anyway, let me see something. All right, let's get into this. Let's get into this. I'm not sure what's going on with the what's the name? Let's see, make sure it's not me again. And nope, that's just. I'm not sure what the deal is.
Can you see me now?
Nah, still nothing.
I see him on my side.
I don't see him at all. I don't see him on anything. That's weird.
I'm in all red.
Pictures.
Yeah, that's weird. You said you're in all red.
Yeah, I got a red hood on.
Oh no, I seen you earlier, but then like you went to your you shared the
We're
screen.
both like this in the hoodie game.
Yeah, you shared the screen, and then when you stopped sharing the screen, then your picture went away. Let me see something.
Is it buried under a thumbnail or?
Nah. Let me see. Let's try something. Try something over here. That didn't help either. It's weird.
I went and checked out that new Drake track.
Actually, no, because I just see the same screen. It just has like a Skype there with my logo, doesn't it?
Say it again.
Where I'm supposed to be, it just has Skype logo or whatever.
Yeah, and all I see
right
is
now.
TR on the Skype end for some reason.
In the back rooms, I can see you though. I can see you.
Man,
I can see you in Skype.
They probably saw the story that I just posted. Give me a second here. No, check the story I just posted. It's for the live for here.
See if you can share your screen again. Try sharing the screen again. Let's see if it changes.
Yeah, give me a second here.
Bear with us, everybody. Bear with us. All right, so I could. Okay. So I can see you sharing your screen.
Yeah.
Are you signed in?
Yeah, I'm signed in. It's just like whatever. It's on the side. It's a Skype. Let me do. You know what? I'm gonna not use the Skype app, and I'm just gonna use the web base.
All right, see what happens. See what happened there. Anyway, so Jay, how was your day, sir?
Doing pretty good. I checked out those Drake songs, the AI ones, and I liked them. Have you heard them yet?
I haven't heard them yet. I heard like somebody said something that like didn't Eminem do something like some kind of AI something, and then he got a copyright strike on his own fucking song
against him?
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna get these names right. So I heard a couple. I heard a couple different AI songs, and the one I was liking was Kanye West Chicago Freestyle. I like that one. Cold. Winter's Cold by Drake AI. Oh, that one goes hard too. And then of course the On My Sleeve with The Weeknd, Heart on My Sleeve. Each of those songs is really nice.
Hey Jeremy R, we are on Rumble. We on Hotep TV, so we on Hotep TV on Rumble. So I'm gonna drop the link to Hotep TV.
Put that link in the chat so they can come through.
On Mondays. On Mondays and Thursdays we do Hotep TV and not Canon. Drop the link to Rumble in there you go.
Appreciate it.
But yeah, I haven't heard any of the Drake stuff yet.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to send it to you somehow, and you could check it out. It's pretty nice.
Anyway, did you get a chance to check out the Don Lemon and Rivik cat fight?
Nah, I mean I just looked at the small clip. I didn't see the whole thing. Was it longer than the clip or whatever?
It was like 12 minutes or something like that. We're gonna jump into it. Yeah, we skip around. So let's get into it so we can get started, because we're going to take it over to Rumble to talk that Waco talk. You know what I mean? So let's do it. Let's get to it. Hopefully Jonah jump back in soon. Let me see. So let's bring this shit up.
Joining us now, a frequent guest on.
All right, there we go. All right, let's get into this. I want to give you guys a warning of extreme cattiness on Don Lemon's part. But here we go.
Joining us now, a frequent guest on Fox News, Republican presidential candidate and tech entrepreneur, Vivek Ramaswamy. So we are happy to have you on. I'm going to talk to you more than just about Fox News, but good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Glad to be
here.
here.
What do you make of this decision to settle this case?
I mean, it strikes me as a cost of doing business. If you're going to be a news network, I think it's happened to CNN. I think it's happened to a lot of news networks.
That has not
It's a
happened
cost
to
of doing
CNN.
This
business.
has not happened to CNN. This is
Never
the
been sued for
largest-
defamation.
You hear what they say, yo? That's the first problem right there for me. Right? So they start off with the lie. Cause see, what they want to do is talk this Fox News nonsense, right? So if people don't know, Fox News had to settle. They settled with Dominion voting systems, right? They settled with the. You back? Let me see, Jonah, you back?
I'm here verbal, but I'm gonna pull another camera I have laying around here somewhere.
Okay.
Give me one moment, because I got a USB camera I can also use.
Okay. Let me see.
If I can find it.
Where is that? Hold on, guys. Hold on, real quick. All right, there we go. Let's see. All right, let's get back to it. So, damn it. There we go. So the first lie they brought out, Jay, is that they want to talk about this defamation suit with Fox News, right? And then he said, I'm sure you guys went through it, they go, no, we didn't, right? And I thought that was pretty goddamn hilarious considering the fact that they did go through it, right? So check this out from the New York Post, everybody. It says, damn it, these ads are annoying, bro. CNN settles defamation suit with Covington teen Nick Sandmann. CNN has agreed to settle a multi-million-dollar defamation suit filed by Covington Catholic School high school student Nick Sandmann over the network's deception of his 2019 encounter with Native American activists. You remember that, Jay? They tried to say that he was staring this Native American down in the face with great disdain. He had his MAGA hat on. His kid is a white supremacist.
Yeah.
Come to find out, they were just waiting for their bus. A lot of kids bought the hats to be funny. The Indian guy or the Native American gentleman got all riled up because of some Hebrew Israelites that was gassing him up. He started banging his drum in the kid's face.
Yeah, I recall that.
Yeah, and then we had this whole thing about this kid being a white supremacist and these kids are racist and all this other stuff. Allegedly, Nick Sandmann got about $275 million.
No, he balling out control.
$275 million from CNN, but they didn't go through any defamation suit. They wanted to. They tried to tell Vivek he was wrong on that. They tried to tell Vivek he was wrong on that. So we're gonna keep it pushing.
Never been actually settled.
This is the largest
it's definitely
in
large,
history.
and Fox appears to have the largest viewership and the market capitalization. So I'm not familiar with the details of this case. I'm actually more interested in issues relating to this country than disputes with media companies. But I will say that it strikes me that from
But you're
CNN
not familiar,
to Fox News.
You're not familiar with the case. You're not familiar with the lies about the 2020 election, about the election being stolen, that Dominion was somehow, fixing the votes. I mean, that's why they $787.5 million. You're not familiar with that? And you're running for president?
The details of a private dispute between a commercial dispute and the details of what the dollar figures are, that's not where I spend. That's really not where I spend my time. But what I will say is, look, there's defamation cases. People settle businesses. If you settle business disputes, Fox settled this one. It's actually not, I think, the pressing issue for the nation of what Fox News' settlement is.
I disagree with that because as you just admitted, you said Fox is the largest viewership, one of the largest viewerships among television networks, and especially cable networks, considering the eyes, the American people who are tuning in to Fox News to get their information and to get it accurately. I'm surprised that you would say that you're not concerned about this, and this is not something that is hugely.
I don't know why Don Lemon was making this such a big deal, right? I don't know why he was making this such a big deal. Vivek Ramaswamy's like, I don't want to talk about that. I'm here to talk about my campaign. I'm here to talk about what I want to do for the country. I don't give a shit about Fox News and their defamation suit or their settlement. I don't care. Like, businesses and companies go through that. That's not what I'm here to talk about. But he wanted to try to get him on this gotcha thing to see if he can, corner him, saying, Vivek Ramaswamy is a quote unquote a denier. You know what I mean? And to Vivek's credit, he avoids it, and it's just hilarious. So let's keep it going.
Pressing for the American people.
Here's the way I look at it.
Freedom of the press is the First Amendment in the Constitution.
Oh, exactly. You nailed it. The freedom of the press. So we have CNN, we have Fox. I'm here with you guys. I go on Fox News. I think that's great that we have a marketplace of ideas in this country. What I worry more about, Don, is the trend that we see in this country to controlling what different parties are actually able to say. The American way to bad speech is more speech. And so I think we need to actually embrace that culture and a more diverse marketplace of ideas. That's something we haven't done well enough in this country.
With all honesty, you're not answering the question. You're giving us platitudes about...
I'm actually unsure what your question is, Don. Do you want somebody to bash Fox News on CNN?
No, I'm not asking you to bash Fox. I'm not asking you to bash Fox News. I'm asking you to be honest about what happened on Fox News, about the lies that were told, and them having to admit the lies and paying the largest defamation settlement to a media company in history, and you are a frequent guest on that network.
That has nothing to do with why he's supposed to be on the show, right? He's running for president. He's supposed to be expressing his ideas on what he feel like, how the country should be run and all this other stuff. But Don Lemon's so caught up in trying to get him in this gotcha moment that he's making himself look like an asshole. Nobody cares about this defamation suit with Fox and the menu. Nobody gives a shit, right?
No, but did you see my call with HJ earlier this week?
Hold on, real quick. Hold on. Let me see.
Yeah.
Hold on, real quick. What'd you say?
Did you see my call with HJ earlier this week?
No, I didn't hear it.
Fuck Vivek. If you share my screen right now, I'll show you why.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Actually, I gotta share it here first. Give me 1 second here.
All right. We're gonna finish this part up.
Yeah, finish it up, and then I'll share it once the video finishes.
All right. Oh shit! What happened? Oh, here we go.
Oh, there it is.
Are you concerned about the credibility? Are you going to continue to go on that network even with those credibility issues?
I have far more concerns with the credibility of what we will call the mainstream media than I do with the credibility of Fox News. But
Fox is the mainstream media.
At the end of the day, what I say is, look, neither you nor I know the details because they settled it before it went to trial. I think the obsession over this is a little weird.
Vivek, listen,
it's a little bizarre.
I don't want to get into that.
There's real issues to talk about in the country. Why are we talking about Fox News and the settlement?
This is a very big and important story. And we have much more that we...
So he getting gassed about them people in his ear, I think. And he keeps trying to push this issue. And he sounds dumber and dumber because he's like, yo, let's just talk about what I'm here to talk about. I'm not here to talk about Fox News. But he keep pushing it. And why? All right, so we're going to let this play out, and then you're going to hear him get to the real stupidity.
We want to talk
I think we should.
About, but we will get there when we're ready to get there. We have you on to talk about these issues. This is a very important issue, and it should not be downplayed. This has to do with American democracy and Americans learning the truth about what happened in the 2020 election.
You want to know what? Yeah, I hear this. I hear a lot about
comparing it to CNN is not this apples and oranges. It's not the same thing.
Well, it's different networks. Yes, apples aren't the same as oranges. You get one view through CNN, you get a different view through Fox News. I think it's good in our marketplace of ideas is that we have media that offers diverse perspectives. And you want to talk about threats to our democracy? One of the threats, and that phrase is an interesting one, threats to our democracy. I think one of the biggest ones is the chilling effect on speech in our country more broadly, where if somebody says something that a broad segment of the population or certain people in the government disagree with, there's an increasing trend in our country to silence that. And the answer to bad speech and alleged misinformation is not less speech. It is more speech in the marketplace of ideas. That's actually what a free press really means.
We're going to move on.
So he has to move on because he's getting his ass handed to him. Like, think what you want about, like, we're going to get into Vivek. Jonah got some information. But, like I said, think what you want about him. He handed Don, he was just completely dismantling Don Lemon in real time. Simply because that's not what he was there to talk about. You know what this reminded me of? This reminded me when King Randall went on Roland Martin's show, and Roland Martin kept trying to talk to him about some shit that he wasn't there to talk about. Right? He was there to talk about X for Boys and all, and what he's doing for his community, not about politics. Right? You know what I mean? So Don Lemon, I guess the people in his ear told him to move on because he couldn't do it. He couldn't gaslight him. He couldn't get him there, and that got him on with the Fox News shit. It's frivolous. It's minutia. Is basically what Vivek was saying. It made him look bad in live television.
Your answer was good, but it's not about what's actually happened. It's not relevant to what's happening. I think the answer to what happened at Fox News is to tell the truth. Media companies are tasked with telling the truth. That did not happen in the situation.
He's talking about telling the truth of media, right? Meanwhile, CNN, how long did CNN keep the lie alive. Keep that lie alive for the last 3 years about that the pandemonium and the experimental medicine. They still keeping that lie alive, right? Again, with the Nick Salmon situation that I showed, right? They called that they defamed that kid. They ruined that kid's life without having any of the facts, right? NewsGuard, MSNBC on NewsGuard has like I think what's the rating? Like a 2 out of like 100. Right? They have like a 2 out of 100 or something crazy. Because they can't get their story straight. But he got the nerve to want to attack Fox News. Which, whatever, right? Like he said, I do think that Fox News is mainstream media. Period, right? I know they try to set Fox News apart from mainstream media. It's mainstream media as well. However, they get it right a lot more than CNN gets it right. They get it right a lot more than MSNBC gets it right. And the fact that they're coming after a guy that don't even work for Fox News, it just was a guest on Fox News, just like he's a guest on CNN, to come after him, that's just intellectually lazy and dishonest.
Situation, and that's why we're asking you these questions. But let's move on.
Let's talk more about a diverse exchange of ideas. That's what I'm in for. Thank you.
Glad you're here this morning. Your campaign slogan is a new American dream, and I was reading through your platform last night. I wonder what you would do specifically to actually bring us together, not just Republicans and Democrats. What does unity look like to you, Vivek, for rich and poor, for rural and urban, for Republicans and Democrats?
That is the right question to be asking. And I think the main divide in this country, and I say this to conservative audiences equally, is not between Republicans and Democrats. It is between those of us who are pro-American, embracing the ideals that set this country into motion, and I think an increasing strain in this country that is anti-American, that wishes to apologize for a nation founded on those ideals. But that's not a 50-50 split. I think most people are in the pro-American camp. And Poppy, I think one of the ways they would say we get to national unity, some people think, is by showing up in the middle and compromising. I respect that view, but I reject it.
You reject compromise?
I reject compromising on our principles. I think that the right way to get to national unity, and I mean this, to unite this country, is by embracing actually the radicalism of the American ideals themselves. We celebrate our diversity and differences. I'm glad we have 3 different shades of melanin on this set right now, 2 different genders. That's fine, but what I say is, so what? That diversity is meaningless unless there's something greater that binds us together, that unites us across that diversity. And I'm running for president to revive those ideals that bind us together across our diverse attributes.
Boy, he is well prepared, right? Whoever it is that preps him, they know what they're doing. Apparently, he got that cash, so he can afford, people to prepare him for shit like this, right? He's a great speaker. Period. That was a class A political answer right there. Phil Knight says he's an Indian Mitt Romney, calling it right now. I might tend to agree with you. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
He's no Justin.
Far worse. Far worse.
Far worse. We're gonna get to it. All right, so watch this. So they're gonna show this video of him speaking at the NRA convention. All right.
I want to get into a few issues, one of them being China. Before I get to China, I just want to better understand something you said this week speaking.
Look at Don Lemon sitting over. He looked like a whole queen sitting over there, legs all crossed and nose in the air.
To back to 1865. Here it was.
I want you to raise your hand if you know when the first anti-gun laws were passed in this country. Raise your hand if you do. 1865. You want to know when it happened? We fought a civil war in this country to give black Americans the equal protection under the law that we failed to secure them in 1776. But then you want to know what happened? Southern states passed anti-gun laws that stopped black people from owning guns. The Democrat Party, then as in now, wanted to put them back in chains.
Then as in now, that's quite an accusation about the current Democratic Party. Who and what were you referring to?
I was referring to Joe Biden and his expression of wanting to put them back in chains, dating back to Lyndon Johnson. I think Lyndon Johnson's so-called Great Society was one of the greatest misnomers in American political history, where even back then in the 1960s, 70% plus of black kids were born into two-parent homes. Today, that number is less than 30% in the opposite direction. The very policies that we implemented in this country in the name of helping black Americans have actually been disastrous for black Americans and all Americans. And I think that that's something that we need to wake up to.
In 1865, you were talking about the black codes, right?
That's right.
Passed, enacted to make it a crime for a black person to carry a gun
Exactly.
in the South. But you're equating that to the current president? You're referring to economic chains? What are you saying?
Well, I was referring to Joe Biden's, I think, ill-chosen expression to say they're the party that wants to put you back into chains. What I'm actually saying is that if you look at the policies of the modern Democratic Party,
Democrats.
Absolutely. So what I'm saying is that actually it's policies like that of Lyndon Johnson and Joe Biden that are actually holding black Americans back.
The war on poverty?
Yes, and in particular his Great Society, where he actually created incentives in the family where if you're a family, you could actually get more money by not having the father in the home. Guess what you get? You get what you pay for. And I think it's been really bad for the black community. I think it's really bad for all Americans.
Do you have anything on this before I move on to China?
I don't see what one has to do with the other, but go on. I took up a lot of time with Fox.
Oh, it's fine. We have time.
I don't really see what one has to do with the other, especially consider and using the Civil War to talk about black Americans. That war was not fought for black people to have guns. That's not.
That war was fought for black people to have freedoms in this country. Yeah. Actually, that's why the Civil War was fought. Okay. And the sad part about it, that wasn't fought for black people to have guns. I think. Actually, you know, funny fact is, black people did not get to enjoy the other freedoms until their Second Amendment rights were secured. And I think that's one of the lessons that we learned.
Aren't allowed to enjoy the freedoms.
I disagree with you on that, Don. I disagree with you. I think you're doing a disservice to our country. By failing to recognize the fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country.
And that's when he started going with the race card. He was getting his ass handed to him. First off, when you listen to the clip of him at the NRA, he didn't say anything about the Civil War being fought so black people can have guns. The mainstream narrative about the Civil War is that the Civil War was fought to grant black people their freedoms and give them the rights of, the Constitution, right? Don Lemon started making that shit up right there on the spot. Like, people didn't hear what they just heard, right? Like, people didn't just hear what he said. He said, and he said it again, no, the Civil War was fought to give black people their freedoms. That's what he said. And when he started schooling his dumb ass on what he said and what he meant by it and the history, this is what Don Lemon says. We're gonna back it up just a tad bit.
The fact that we have equality before the law.
And you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. But we're not.
When you are in black skin and you live in this country, then you can disagree with me. This is what he just told him. When you are in black skin, you live in this country, you can disagree with me. So now Don Lemon is losing the fight and he wants to go to ad hominem attacks. He wants to go to the race card. The rich black man. The rich black man that works for a major news network is playing the oppression card.
Not. You mentioned in here that we have three different shades
Don, I think we have to be able to
here.
talk about these issues in the open, regardless of the color of our skin. Black Americans today, to say that, compare that to 1865 and 1964,
I think for you to compare it to 1865 and 1964 is actually, I think it's insulting to black people. It's insulting to me as an African American. I don't want to sit and argue with you because it's infuriating for you to put those things together. It's not right. Your telling of history is wrong.
What part of the history was wrong?
What part of the history was wrong? That the Civil War was fought. You're making people think that the Civil War was fought for black people, only for black people to get guns and for black people to.
The Civil War was fought for black people in this country to get freedoms, a noble mission, and I think that
that's the third time he had to clarify that the Civil War was fought for black people to get freedoms. He never once said that the Civil War was fought for black people to have guns.
The Civil War was fought to put U.S. under socialism.
Hey, I'm not going to disagree with you. That's why I said the mainstream narrative of the Civil War was that black people was getting freedoms, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm
you know what I mean? I'm just saying, look, check it out. Don Lemon is trying to take his statements and twist them in real time. Like, people not hearing what he's saying. Like I said, it's so intellectually lazy and it's so dishonest. I'm going to show you why Vivek is correct, right? So let's keep going.
Even after we succeeded, we had to actually secure those freedoms.
To reduce it in a speech at the NRA, to say you're making people think, or you're trying to say that black people to get guns, that was the reason that you're there at the NRA. That was the reason for the Civil War.
It is a
that's
fact.
Reductive.
It's not
and
reductive,
I think it's
Don.
Insulting. There are a whole plethora of reasons for the Civil War.
With due respect, I find your explanation reductive and actually insulting, including to black Americans, to say that black people today, compared to 1964, 1865, haven't made progress in part because of the freedoms we secured. And the Second Amendment was part of it.
Hang on, please. I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on 1 second.
So now he had to take his ear out because people are talking in his ear. His ass is getting his ass whooped in this interview. He couldn't just stick to the topic. He got to become an activist. And he sounds like an asshole the whole way through. He's putting words in the man's mouth, hoping that he can make something stick.
So to say that black people, say what you said again?
Black people secured their freedoms after the Civil War. It is a historical fact, Don. Just study it. Only after their Second Amendment rights were secured.
They were not secured their freedoms after the Civil War. That is not, you are discounting Reconstruction. You're discounting a whole host of things that happened after the Civil War when it comes to African Americans, including the whole reason that the Civil Rights Movement happened is because black people did not secure their freedoms after the Civil War, and that things turned around. People tried to change the freedoms that were supposed to happen.
And you know how they got it?
They
got their Second Amendment rights, and they actually got the NRA played a big role in that. But today, Don, the NRA
did not play a big role in that.
They trained black Americans how to use firearms.
That's a lie. That's not. The NRA did not.
Again, he wants to cut him off because he's saying that's a lie. And we'll go to the tape in a minute. Keep that in mind.
Play a big role.
This is just historical fact, but
not historical fact.
The part that I find
because you say it's historical fact.
The part that I find insulting is when you say today black Americans don't have those rights after we have gone through civil rights revolution in this country.
You are sitting here telling an African American about the rights and what you find insulting about the way I live, the skin I live in every day.
Here's where you and I have a different point of view.
Black and white that black people don't have in this country, and that black people do have.
Well, here's where you and I have a different point of view. I think we should be able to express our views regardless of the color of our skin. We should have this debate without me regarding you as a black man,
insulting that
but
you're
me regarding you
here,
as a fellow citizen.
That you're
That's what I think we should see.
Whatever ethnicity you are, explaining to me.
Whatever ethnicity.
He said now he's attacked his ethnicity twice. He's attacked his American citizenship and he's attacked his ethnicity twice. Right? And he's right. I said this before. I talked to a group of kids at a church. I said, because the minute we had like a men's ministry and they were talking to the kids and they were trying to make the kids scared of the police. And I had to step up like, yo, no, that's not how this shit works. All right. I said, your struggle ain't what your father's struggle was. I said, your struggle ain't what your grandparent and your parents' struggle ain't what your grandparents, your parents' struggle ain't what your grandparents' struggle was. And your grandparents' struggle ain't what their parents' struggle was. Things are exponentially better for the black community than it was before the Civil War, than it was during the Civil Rights Movement, right? My grandfather had to wait till the 80s to become a machinist, when that's what he was his entire life, right? He had to start off as a janitor in the 50s and the 60s after he got out of the army. He was a carpenter by trade, but became a machinist. But he couldn't pursue that at Westinghouse where he worked at until he retired until the 80s. Right? Now I argue that, even in the 80s, it was still hard for black people to get certain jobs, right? In the 70s and the 60s. However, now, right, for example, right, it's what we're in the 21st century. It's 2023. I'm a systems administrator. You know how I got the job? Because my name's known in the industry that I'm in my city. My work speaks for itself. They didn't hire me because I'm some black dude. They hired me because I could do the job. Would I become a systems administrator in like the early 80s or the 70s? I might have had a harder time getting that job over a white person. But my struggle ain't what my father and my grandfather's struggle was. It's a lot better. I'm in a lot better position now. A lot of us, all of us are. Right? No matter what your color, we're all in a better position to thrive. I would argue that maybe the last 3 or 4 years been kind of difficult with Joe Biden's America. But you get what I'm talking about. And for Don Lemon, a successful black man, to sit up on TV, national television, on a show that's his show, to sit there and tell a lie like that, it's deplorable. And then to attack, you know, what they call Donald Trump, a bigot and all this other stuff, that he don't like immigration and blah, blah, blah. You just sit here and attack the Indian American man on his ethnicity and his citizenship twice on live television because you were losing an argument that you thought that you had in the bag before he showed up. You thought you were going to defame this man when he got here and you couldn't do it. You thought you were going to rattle him and you couldn't do it. Like I said, this dude he's well prepared for shit like this. Right? For him to even have the guts to even go on CNN and talk about it. Well, he was supposed to talk about his race, but he clearly this was a waste of fucking time for him to be there. This is a waste of fucking time for him to be there. He's sitting here arguing with a fucking queen over Fox News's settlement, and then try to tell him what you really meant in your speech. You trying to tell the man who gave the speech, who wrote the speech, who prepared the speech and gave it to the people, this is what you really meant to say. But this is what you really said. Because you want to convince your viewers otherwise. You showed a clip. It favored black people. Tons of black people know that to be true. But you want to sit here and try to flip and reverse it. He made himself look dumb all the way around. Check this out.
It's like to be black.
Whatever
in America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell you what I am. I'm an Indian American. I'm proud of it. But I think we should have this debate. Black, white, doesn't matter.
I think we should have this
on
debate.
The content of the ideas.
If you're going to do it, you should do it in an honest way and in a fair way. And what you're doing is not an honest and fair way. Okay? But we appreciate you coming on.
With due respect, Don, I look forward to continuing that conversation.
We'll
Thank
continue
you.
the conversation.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Papa.
We'll talk about China.
Yes, let's talk about China.
Next time you come back.
Oh, thank you. Much to say on declaring independence from China.
Okay,
Something you can
move
add
on now, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can you move on now, please? When they went to commercial, that fucking chair should have been empty. And his ass should have been out on fucking the streets of New York with a box in his hand, holding all his things from his office. That's how horrible he just looked. That's how horrible he just looked. That's the shit that's crazy. The same man that told black kids, pull up your pants and act like you got some goddamn sense. Remember that shit? During the Freddie Gray riots? Shit is crazy. So check this out, right? Where is it at? I think I sent it to you, Jay. Hold on.
Can you at least see my thumbnail, or is it just that Skype shit?
It's still the Skype joint, yo. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep you. I guess we're just gonna keep you on the voice, and then when we share your screen, at least we can see your screen. So that's perfect.
Yeah, that's fine.
So check this out, right? He said at the NRA, right? NRA ain't have nothing to do. That he was lying about the NRA helping the civil rights cause, right? Check this out. From Breitbart. Black Lives Matter founder NRA stood with blacks when Democrats attacked in the 60s. Marsh Toure, founder of Black Lives Matter, points out that the National Rifle Association stood with blacks during the 1960s when Democrats comprised groups like the KKK, or terrorizing and attacking them, right? So let me scroll down here. Where is it at? Let me make this bigger too so y'all can see. There we go. In 1964, the Congress for Racial Equality began community organizing in the Pine Mill town of Jonesboro. I guess that's what, Louisiana. One night, the local police led a Klan motorcade through the black neighborhoods, destroying Klan flyers and then heading to the local jail to threaten imprison civil rights workers. That summer, about 20 black Army veterans had informally founded a community defense patrol. They adopted the name Deacons for Defense. How many people heard of Deacons for Defense out there? Defense and Justice. Because most of them were practicing Christians and they aimed to serve their communities in a Christian manner. The Deacons conducted nighttime auto patrols of black neighborhoods, communicating via Citizens Band radio or CB radios and walkie-talkies. Corps worked closely with the Deacons, and soon the energy and pride provided by the Deacons had helped make Jonesboro one of Corps' best organized towns. Right? That's the Deacons for Defense, right? So where's that one thing at? Toure wants his fellow black citizens to understand that the NRA stood with the Deacons of Defense while Democrat groups like the Ku Klux Klan fought against them. All right? Copel describes the NRA as the Deacons for Defense arsenal of democracy. Right? That's a historical fact. They armed the Deacons of Defense. The NRA did that. When they tell you the NRA is rooted in racism, but they stood side by side with the Deacons for Defense. Right? I bet a lot of people out there didn't know that, right? Bet a ton of people out there didn't know that. Also, check this out real quick. After this, we're going to jump over to Rumble for talk about Waco. So a few years back, Coleon Noir, a lot of people y'all out there know Coleon Noir was a spokesperson for the NRA. He has a huge YouTube channel. He's a lawyer. He's an avid, two-way enthusiast and activist, right? So they made this short little documentary about gun control's racist history. So check this out.
Here's a little history for you. Gun control in America is rooted in racism. That's right. The modern gun control movement is just today's version of the exact policies used to keep firearms out of the hands of freed slaves after the Civil War. Like we showed you last episode, gun control doesn't harm the powerful, connected, protected people who push for it. It's always been about controlling a segment of the population. And what better way to maintain dominance over an ethnic group than to ensure they're disarmed? Don't believe me? Keep watching.
Gun control has absolutely nothing to do ideologically with the control of firearms. If you do even a most cursory look at history between guns and gun ownership, you will find that without question, gun laws were created to restrict gun ownership from certain classes of people.
Long before the revolution, long before the drafting of the Second Amendment, laws were passed in the various colonies in what is now the United States to take away guns from minorities.
The first gun control laws in America start in 1620 in Virginia, when the legislature enacts a law saying don't let black people have guns. And that's been sort of the key theme of American gun control for centuries ever after.
In the famous Dred Scott opinion, Justice Taney makes it clear that one of the reasons blacks should not be treated as equal citizens is that if they are, they will enjoy the right to keep and bear arms wheresoever they go.
It wasn't that they said the Second Amendment doesn't apply to these people. It was they're not considered people. Because if they're considered people, they would have the right to own firearms.
Even though the slaves were freed by the 13th Amendment, some states still prohibited black people from being armed.
And so you get a whole spate of state-level laws, either explicitly barring African Americans from enjoying their civil rights, or doing so cleverly. For example, by restricting what guns are available, maybe to those who served in the Confederate Army. Well, we all know who served in the Confederate Army and who didn't. You do the math.
It was designed as a tool, in the words that they used, to prevent any reprisals against former slave owners.
You know, America's first domestic terrorist organization was the Ku Klux Klan.
Individuals who were probably local government officials who would ride on horses throughout the black community to discourage people from not only owning firearms, but from also engaging in other civic duties such as voting.
I can't think of anything more simplistic than the idea of how do you terrorize a group of people who are armed? You really can't. So what do? You do everything in your power to disarm them in every way.
If you read Ida B. Wells in the 1890s, she makes it very clear that the men who got away from the lynch mobs were the men who were armed. And in fact, she says that a Winchester rifle should hang in pride of place in any Afro-American home.
You can't lynch people who are armed. You can't burn crosses in the yards of people who are armed. So they really worked hard to make sure that blacks who were free couldn't buy and own firearms, because then they could defend themselves.
It's underreported, but we all know Rosa Parks for her bravery on the bus. But Rosa Parks used to sit on her porch with her grandfather with a shotgun in her hands in case the Klan came onto her property and attempted to kill her and her family purely because they were black.
Our history is that we have always utilized and exercised our right to bear arms because it's been life or death.
So the 14th Amendment came along after the 13th and said, these rights belong to everybody. And you can't do this on the basis of, well, we got a state law that says you can't arm newly freed slaves.
When a criminal starts misusing me, I am going to use whatever is necessary to get that criminal off my back.
What is there to prevent a group such as the Black Panthers from walking right into the governor's office?
As of today, very little.
So this interview right here was done right before they did the Mulford Act, which was signed by Reagan and all that other shit, right? That's when I believe it was the Black Panthers was on the state capitol in California, and they marched in there and they gave them their, not demands, but they told them you're not going to terrorize our communities. And next thing you know, the Mulford Act was in to prevent them from being able to do that shit again.
We hope to improve that situation in the next couple of days.
All the way up until the 1968 gun law, you have basically attempts to disarm black people.
The 1968 Gun Control Act is an attempt to stop poor people from buying guns, poor people who were disproportionately black.
So you have these laws that were written in a race-neutral way, but were in fact aimed only at black people and enforced only against black people.
You have no right to take my gun away from me. You don't know the Constitution, right?
Sure we do. We're well aware of the Constitution.
Well, the so-called Saturday night special bans. These firearms, although they did not have fine workmanship and that they were inexpensive, they were still available to be used to defend yourself and to defend your home. And one of the most interesting things about these laws that were put on the books to discriminate against black people is that these are the common anti-gun laws that politicians this very day in the year 2016 try to adopt and to prevent certain people from owning a firearm.
Persons wishing to purchase ammunition first acquire a permit, then pass an extensive background check.
And it requires gun owners to present themselves to police for a background check, photographing, and fingerprinting.
So, yeah, I think there's a racist component in the existing gun control movement, but they don't say that openly because you can't say things like that.
And so the more that people in my community have heard about our history and know about our history, the more that gun control has been shown and proven to be racist policies that have continued to keep people in our community down.
I don't by any stretch of the imagination believe that gun control has kept the black community safe. And the reason why I don't believe that is the same reason why I don't think gun control has kept the white community safe. It just doesn't keep anyone safe. If I'm a single parent mother and I can't afford a car, I have to take the bus. Not only that, I have to work 2 jobs, so I'm coming home late at night, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning by myself. I'm getting paid in cash. People know I'm getting paid in cash. So now I have to get on the bus and then have to get off the bus at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then walk home in a bad, shitty neighborhood, knowing that people know that I have cash on me? Come on, man.
There's a reason why in Chicago now we're seeing a record number of minorities inside the most violent neighborhoods applying for their concealed carry permits to finally try and put an end to criminals running their streets.
Why would you limit someone's ability to protect themselves in that environment? I just don't get it.
In 2010, when the Second Amendment was finally incorporated to the states, as was the intention of the 14th Amendment in the mid-1860s, it was a black man, Otis McDonald, who brought the case.
There were so many people in the city, so many people in the state that's being victimized by gun laws that only apply.
So this guy went all the way to the Supreme Court, right? Because he lived in such a bad neighborhood. I think he got mugged, if I'm not mistaken, and he took his case out of the Supreme Court because Chicago at the time would not allow homeowners to even own guns in their own home. So he couldn't even have a gun in his house to defend himself from a home invasion. So his case went all the way to the Supreme Court with the help at the time of the NRA. How about that?
Apply to the law-abiding citizens. How can that be right? It can't be right.
A great guy. I consider him one of my personal heroes. You know, someone who lived in an urban environment. In his case, we're talking about the city of Chicago. You know, he's been there for a while and was a fixture. And he just realized that it was not safe.
McDonald says his neighborhood has changed, more crime. He's been broken into 3 times, and he's long since concluded that the gun ban is a bust.
The gangbangers and drug dealers were taking over my neighborhood. They were taking over me, literally, and I was being threatened.
I live in a bad environment. I want a gun to protect myself, but the laws in this place won't let me do that.
And he had to fight Lisa Madigan and everybody else in Chicago for that right to do it. He's a civil rights hero, and he gets none of the accolades for being such.
Like, we had to go to court for that. Like, we had to go to the Supreme Court to let somebody own a gun in their own house to protect themselves because they live in a bad environment. That had to go all the way to the Supreme Court. Where in the world does that make any sense?
The racist roots of gun control have been so well hidden by the mass media and public education system that you've probably never heard any of that before. But it's the truth. The tender-hearted do-gooders of the contemporary movement are still serving that same racist end. This isn't a minor, uncomfortable truth about American gun control. It's the one fact that discredits the movement entirely.
There you have it. I just thought that was a well-done small doc that they did. Just wanted to share that with you guys. Just to further prove that Don Lemon was full of shit. Don Lemon was full of shit. Anyway.
Fuck Vivek.
Yeah, so let's get into that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start sharing your screen so I can pop that up real quick.
Give me a second here. Is that the screen or oh no, entire screen? There we go. There we go.
The whole time trying to see where it is. There it goes, popping up now. There we go.
You should see Vivek's picture there.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, yep.
All right, go ahead and talk to us.
What do you see in that top right corner? Top left corner. Philanthropy
Roundtable.
Roundtable.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're deep like Jay and I, you probably already know I'm going to go with the Roundtable groups. But let's go ahead here. America's founding principles. What do they say America's founding principles are? And he's a board of directors of this group, right? Our nation's founding principles created a system that protects the individual rights and freedoms of all Americans. The Roundtable believes the best way to safeguard the future of our democracy is by promoting and defending the American ideals that strengthen our free society. So right there, he's basically licking the balls of George Soros and the Democratic Party. And then let's go ahead here. If I open up the Anglo-American Establishment by Carol Quigley, Bill Clinton's mentor or whatever. That's all about the Roundtable groups. And if you look on the right-hand side there, that's every time that Roundtable comes up in the book. 281 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Fuck him. He's the Irving Kristol of the 2020s.
So you think he a Trojan horse?
Oh, dude, outright. If he's calling himself a Roundtable, that's CFR. Literally, the Council on Foreign Relations is a Roundtable.
That's interesting.
Since 1921.
Bro, because
you have similar. I think they had utopian ideals, or where we get the ideas of the kindergarten, or some of those FS. Is it FS Malin? Right, the editor of the R Land. There was a Roundtable movement that took place, I think, in 1905 in the beginning of it.
Well, the first one started in 1880, right, with separate roads.
Right, and you have various planned utopian ideals, and some of that goes into the Octagon Society, something similar that we would have seen out of Louis Marchal or something out of Switzerland. So when we talk about the identity or the bringing up of these roundtables, what they're talking about is like their quote unquote democracy, but it's set around a settlement, almost like what we get with later contrarian groups or groups that try to pull their resources together, similar to what we see, with modern day communism almost.
It's like the Democratic Party. When they say our democracy, it's only democracy while they're in charge.
Right.
So yeah, fuck him.
So you saying he a Trojan horse?
I see the word our democracy, which is that bullshit. It's all the Roundtable shit, right, to begin with, and then free society or open society is George Soros and all the 1960s, all that bullshit. Yeah, because he named his shit the Open Society Club, which is or also Open Society Foundation. And yeah, that's all free society too. It's all There's an author in the 60s who came out with the Free Society, Open Society movement.
We can go back into that with it in the 1960s with your Trilateral Commission and some of the books or the work that they were working on, Club of Rome, which equals 666 in gematria. That was their round circle. So their round circle, picture this. It's like CFR, the UN, what else would it be? Trilateral, and then your Club of Rome. So it does make a circle, but that circle is like an octagon, which they call the Octagon Society ultimately. And they have these ideas that come together with these, but they would be Eurocentric secularists and also sometimes atheistic groups that get together called the think tanks. And so each group pulls these think tanks together to see what way can they get to their ultimate utopia, right? Which isn't a utopia for us, the plebes, the sheep, the lower classes. It's actually their utopia for the higher classes, and that kind of goes back into the Margaret Sanger eugenicist stance in a way.
Yep. And now let's be honest, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's too stupid to know what the Roundtable societies are. Well, cool. Even more reason not to vote for him.
Well, yeah, I don't know what Remember, usually we see characters that usually have a meeting with Kissinger or something like that. Even to this day, even Sarah Palin had her meetings with Kissinger.
Yeah.
Kissinger thing. Actually, I just recorded on that today. Now tomorrow, I'm going to be dropping on. I'll give the link to Canon or whatever, or I'll throw it up in the chat here in a moment. Here, it's going to be dropping at 9:50 a.m. or 9:05 a.m. or whatever. But basically, it's what was the basically? Have either of you ever heard of John J. McCloy?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, this guy was he was the first World Bank president. He was the High Commissioner of Germany after World War II, and he's the one who pardoned all the industrials for the Nazis. He was chairman of the Council on Foreign Relations for 16 years. He was on the Warren Commission. He was the OPEC. He was the lawyer for the Sisters of Seven or whatever it is. So it's the 7 different oil companies. So he was the lawyer for them going against OPEC. This guy is literally everywhere. I just recorded on that today.
That's good.
Man,
was the dualism sisters? When you talk about Hector, those are like the artists also put those on the bank, the Bank of America mural.
Yeah.
He also did pictures of her too to represent like what is it, like basically like the Janus symbol. So
you're gonna love when we get into why April 19 when we do this.
4/19. Oh, okay.
You're gonna love why they choose April 19th. But we gotta do that on Rumble.
Oh yeah, we definitely going to Rumble for
the
that.
Sisters.
We definitely going to Rumble for that one.
Yeah.
We definitely going to. Speaking of that, guys, that's a great way. That's a great segue to get over there. So check it right in the description. I'll also put it in the. Let's see. I'll put it in the chat as well. Oh, nope. Let's not do that. Is that it? Yeah, that is it actually. I just put it in the chat. Click the link we're gonna head over to Rumble for the exclusive on Waco. It's also in the description. Just click Hotep TV link in the description. It's in the description, right? Yep. And then we see you over there, guys. I would like to see as many people over there as possible. On your way in, hit that like button. On your way out, hit that like button. Hit that notification icon. Please share the stream, guys. Make sure you subscribe to Hotep TV. That's where you'll see my content on Mondays and Thursdays. You'll see Hotep's Been Told You over there. You'll see Hotep Jesus' content and Uncle Hotep's content over there. We're trying to start our our network, guys. We trying to make it bigger than the Daily Wire. We're trying to make it bigger than Crowder's thing. We out here giving y'all the real information. We're the tastemakers that everybody else looks at and don't give us any credit for the shit that they take from us. So head on over to Hotep TV, guys. Anyway. All right, this is the end for YouTube. Head on over to Rumble TV. For Jay and Jonah, Cannon saying, be safe, stay strapped. Don't miss. Head on over there so you can get this Waco talk going, guys. We holla at you.
Yo, relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes. Niggas need to wake up. Niggas need to relax and take notes.